why don't you start a political party? Then I said that I think that there are so many political parties that are existing, but let us perhaps go and listen to the people as to whether we should form a political party. That could be a better approach in terms of how we approach the whole question. And then, of course, we then announced on the 19th of June a process that said that we're going to listen to different constituencies in South Africa on whether there must be a formation of a political party. And an overwhelming majority of the people that we interacted with said we must not form a party. They said we should form a movement instead, because there are so many political parties. They say that we must form a political movement, which as part of the movement, there must be a political party, because if you just form a political party, you're just going to focus on electoral politics and campaigning, and you will treat our people as voters, not as human beings, not as people. So we then have agreed to found a movement.
Peace in Pan-Africanism to all my African brothers and sisters from all around the world. Welcome back to King Seso. I'm your host, Kagiso Hlongwane. Host is in Chiva Sono, and we're back at it again with another one. And yes, we are talking Africa Mayibuye movement. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm saying it's interesting because of the airtime that it looks like Mayibuye will be getting. Mayibuye is getting quite a significant number of airtime for a new political party. Remember, there is about 600 political parties. Actually, the north of 600. There are more than 600 political parties in South Africa registered, and many of them over the past 2 years. You can't even name 12, can you? 20 of them, 30, never mind 50. And some of them has participated in the past elections. They did terribly bad. Numbers that are poor. Political party getting something like 1,000 votes the entire country, So we have never heard of these political parties, but we are in a situation where Mayibuye is getting airtime. Is it because of who Floyd is in politics and the participation that he has had, or are they pushing favoritism to push an agenda so that we can look at Mayibuye in a certain way? Mainstream media, I don't trust them. They could be giving you airtime to trap you, or they could be in an agenda to promote you. You'll never know. So Mayibuye, I like this issue of saying, no, Mayibuye was created as a movement, but a movement that became a political party. Sweet with word or Floyd Shivambo, and movements for me are strong, very strong. One of the movements that are strong is the Pan-Africanist School of Economics, Technology and Agriculture. It is a movement that has an African footprint. You find us in Liberia, you find us in Uganda, you find us in Angola, you find us in Namibia, you find us in Lesotho, and you find us in South Africa. So we've got an African footprint, and we are growing day by day. And what we're trying to do is to build an Africanized, Afrocentric education system in the entire African continent. If you want to be part of this movement, you can donate to us by sending money, only 50 Rand, to the Capitec business account, and we will appreciate it as we are buying building materials by the end of this month. So that is very exciting news that I will be recording. You want to know more about Paseta, please go to the Paseta YouTube channel, which is Paseta School. Follow us everywhere on social media with the same handle, Paseta School, and you will find us. Now, when we talk about Floyd Shivambu, I'm trying to think of, sometimes we have to have foresight in what we are doing here. We have to have foresight in what we are doing so that we can understand what is it that these people are trying to do. You have to put emotions aside, look at Floyd, listen to him, analyze his body language, listen to his speech, and then most importantly, follow his body language, his actions after he speaks. What is it that Mayibuye is doing? Can they back up what they are saying they're gonna do? And all of those things is very important. Apparently, there's other political parties that has asked Floyd to lead them. As he was busy doing this process of consultation, apparently there was other political parties that said, no, listen, lead us. Can you come and lead our political party? This is very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. There's people that see a lot of value in Floyd Shivambu. Very interesting. So let's just listen to him explaining exactly why they created Mayibuye.
But also there's so many other political parties and formations who came in the consultation process to say that please come and lead our party. I know there was a Christian party, there was a party called the African Renaissance Unity. There's a variety of other organizations as well, representing different constituencies, which said that we should come and lead their different parties. But in the ultimate conclusion of the consultation process was to constitute Africa Mayibuye movement, which has got a registered political party which will contest elections.
So there's people that want Floyd into here. I'm not going to say he's lying or he's telling the truth. It's none of my business. The thing is that he has said it now. If those political parties that I've mentioned are able to come out and prove the statement truth or false, they will choose to do so. In the absence of anyone challenging the statement of Floyd, we're gonna presume that it is what he's telling is the truth. But now the issue is the Mayibuye an alternative to the EFF and the MK political party? Remember, he said he's not going to talk about the EFF anymore. He's not going to talk about the MK political party. That's what he said last week. And I told you guys 1 week will be enough. 1 week. And I told you that the reporters and presenters will ask a question in such a way that he will have to talk about Mayibuye. So now we're getting in that situation where Mayibuye, he'll have to talk about EFF and MK. We're getting in that situation where we ask ourselves, is there a difference of talking about the EFF and the MK or mentioning the EFF and the MK because they came about in the conversation? Hey, that's something very technical. But he did again speak about the economic freedom fighters. And this is what he had to say.
The traditional leadership inputs that we got, and even from the religious institutions, was the question of whether the two other existing black political formations are correct instrument to could replace the ANC, which is going to naturally die because it has lost its relevance, it has fulfilled its historical mission. And a correct response, which I can corroborate with practical knowledge of and intimate knowledge of what happens in both of the two other black organizations, they are not the alternatives. The EFF is not an alternative to the crisis of South Africa. If anything, it will deepen the crisis of South Africa.
Why?
Because it's directionless, one, but two, it has adopted habits and mannerisms of the African National Congress. I think we've made this observation publicly that if you check the conduct of its deployees in government, it's not dissimilar from what the ANC deployees do. And I know this because when I was in the EFF, I was responsible for government or governance. So a lot of complaints would be brought about the conduct of those that are deployed in government. And whenever we'll intervene, there will be an organizational resolution to protect wrongdoing. So that is part of the reasons why we have to disassociate from such a movement that develops and adapts mannerisms of an organization.
But you held the second most powerful position in that party.
So this is...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Okay, so there's a difference in mentioning the economic freedom fighters and talking about economic freedom fighters. And I think someone was saying to me, but King, what do you want Floyd to talk about? He's from the EFF, he's from the ANC, he's from the MK. Obviously, you should expect that he will talk about those political parties. That's where he comes from. It's like us talking about relationship and asking you not to mention anything about your exes. It's one of those things. Is it a fair question to say he must not talk about those political parties? No, it's not. But he is the one that said to us, no, guys, we will not be getting into any mention. We will not give any attention to those political parties. So when he comes and says things like this, we have to can hold him to the word that he spoke. So that's where we are here on King Said So. The EFF will deepen the crisis of South Africa. In what form? To a degree, I can agree with that. Let me tell you why. I think the EFF winning an election, which will not happen, meaning EFF getting 50+1%, anytime soon. It might happen in our lifetime, but it won't happen like in 2029. But nobody will know. But anyways, I'm just looking at their previous performances and everything. 50% is too far, to be honest. The EFF winning an election, depending on who the global leaders are, might deepen the crisis of South Africa for a few years, up until South Africa stands up again and becomes a great nation. That's what I believe. A lot of leaders don't take liking to the CIC in the UK. They banned him. They don't want him to travel there. The US are probably going to do the same very soon. So it is those type of things that I believe that the economy might be knocked just a little bit for some time, whether it's 2 years or 3 years, or they try to disturb his entire 5-year term. But I think South Africa will be able to pick up because of the BRICS and whatever. Some people said you are being unreasonable and you are not being logical because South Africa needs the US more than the US needs South Africa. Economically, trade-wise, it is true. But if we can work our trades properly, like the way they're sanctioning us to trade to them, we can make sure, not sanction, what's the word I'm looking for? We need to make sure that we price our raw material properly, and I think it will develop our economy a lot. So that's one thing and he also spoke about the conduct of deployees in government. He says the deployees in government has not been working properly, and he can speak to that because he was the head there in governance. So he was leading the party in terms of that, and he said they were doing wrong things, and when he tried to intervene, there was a resolution on an organizational resolution that protects wrongdoing. That protects wrongdoing. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to argue with Floyd. My issue is that you said you are not going to talk about the EFF. You're talking about the EFF. I saw Uzizipo was doing a video about, I think, 31 members that have left, that their membership has been terminated in the EFF. I don't like that. You guys know me when it comes to members. I always have that theory that no one member leaves a party with one vote. A member always leaves a party with his friends, his family, and also a member leaves then doubt in whoever is remaining behind. Remember, factionism is always there in all political parties. It might be more visible in other political parties and less visible in other political parties. But I'm not sure when he says the EFF organizationally took resolutions to protect wrongdoing. What wrongdoing? I wish he made an example and said like KG did 1, 2, 3, and 4 and 5. And that's one of the instances. But because he did not give any example, I can't speak about it. And also, he was asked about the issue of the MK political party. And it's very interesting. It's very, very interesting. And that when he speaks about the MK, it's not in the same energy as the EFF. Let's listen to him quickly.
Of corruption, even grand corruption in this country, and you go and join that party, even though you say you left the previous party because you were opposed.
So I took one of the best decisions politically ever, that You have 2.5 million people who have shown confidence in Umkhonto Wesizwe in South Africa. And in their respect, and after having observed that Umkhonto Wesizwe, the party, was struggling to find organizational sense and resonance, largely due to inexperience on founding organizations and putting systems in place, I said that we cannot leave a constituency of 2.5 million people not represented in a qualitative and clear way. And that is when I agreed fully to go and contribute.
But where did your sentiment change about the leader of the party and his character?
Look, I think I gave this background before. So before the formation of Umkhonto Wesizwe party in October 2023, before the announcement in December 2023, on the 16th of June about the formation of Umkhonto Wesizwe party, we had a very political and ideological discussion with President Zuma to then illustrate what were the weaknesses during his occupation of the presidency positions. And then, of course, we didn't retract the criticism that we gave about his relationship with the Guptas, who said that that was wrong. Even when I was in MK, I'd say that it's an era which must never relive. And that, by the way, was happening against some members of MK saying to President Zuma that he must go and see the Guptas in India. But we still stayed firm on the principle that there are certain wrongdoings that were happening. But we thought that because there was beginning to be a movement or beginning to be traction that is being gained by Umkhonto Wesizwe, let us consolidate an alternative to the African National Congress because it is dissipating whether...
Okay, so it's funny when he's mumbling when it comes to the EFF thing because he knows there is no clear reason that he can give properly. So now the first reason he's giving is that there were 2.5 million people that voted for the what you call the MK political party, and that's what led him there. And he was like, no, we need to move to the MK so that he can have the best black representatives. So if it's about the voters also, 40% of South African voters, I think 6 million, voted for the ANC. Then why didn't you move to the ANC? Because 2.5 million people made you move to the MK. Okay, Sharp, you are trying to get an alternative and all of that. So he says they were struggling to get the system ongoing. To a certain degree, we can agree when Floyd got there as a Secretary General, there was structure in that political party. Anyone who hates Floyd can admit to that there was at least a little bit of structure that was going on there, but it did not last long, ladies and gentlemen. So he says he criticized the issue of the Guptas. He says there are some members of the party that are telling Zuma that he should go and see the Guptas in India. In India, and the Guptas are in India. I didn't know. I thought they were in Dubai. Now we know where the Guptas are. I hope our intelligence are listening. If they are looking for the Guptas, Floyd Nikoshivambo says they are in India. So you must go and check in India. I'm sure that Gupta surname is quite big in India, so it will be difficult to find them. But at least you've got a lead to do that. So I want to cover also what he said about Mayibuye as targets for 2026. Imagine we're already talking about Mayibuye's targets for 2026. This political party that is 2 months old, 1 month old, and we're already talking about their targets for 2026. It's very interesting. Let's quickly listen to Floyd.
The target of Africa Mayibuye for the upcoming local government elections 2026?
Look, we in terms of the mandate that we have from all the people of South Africa, is that we should contest elections in all the 4,364 wards of South Africa. So we are going to field the candidates in all the municipalities, in all the wards, to say that we offering an alternate, honest political agenda and developmental program, which is going to uplift the lives of our people.
there is no Mayibuye that is going to compete or participate in all 364 voting stations. Not possible. Not possible. I don't think, besides the ANC, there is a political party that does that. Every voting station present? No. There are voting stations where the EFF is not there. There are voting stations where the DA is not there. I promise you. There's just other strongholds of other political parties where, of lack of presence in that area, other political parties don't even bother to try and compete there. But for him to say they will compete in those 364 voting stations, that's a big dream. Okay, now let's say that dream comes true. Did you know for him to get 1 or 2 seats in parliament, all he will need to then obtain is 20 votes every voting station? From those 364, all he needs is 20 votes, only 20 votes, so that nationally he can be, I'm talking about now national elections, so nationally he can get something like 87,000 votes. That will get him two seats in parliament. On a national scale that I'm referring to. So my other question is that which province is Mayibuye going to be strong in? Because for me, a political party has to have a base of a province, and I think that's the weakness of other political parties, that they don't have the base. They don't have a province where we can say, in that province you can't beat Action SA. In that province you can't beat, So if you don't have a province, it means you don't have a municipality under you, you don't have, you don't have a metro under you. All of those things is a problem. So I think that's something that they need to get right. Another interesting thing that was said by Mayibuye is that they are not going to take money from white monopoly capitalists. Yeah. When I heard that, I was like, how? Okay, they are a Pan-Africanist movement, and they are not taking money from white capitalists. Okay, this is very interesting. Listen to this.
One thing is that we are not going to take money from the... One thing is that we are not going to take money from the white capitalist establishment. That is one. And two, we are not going to be involved in wrongdoing in government, whether even in areas where we demonstrate maximum potential. We're not going to take money from tenderpreneurs who would want to manipulate the organization for narrow purposes. We're going to have a model which we will publicly speak about that involves the membership base of the organization and the supporters, to say that if we were to make these contributions, how do we get to sustain the organization? Actually, the Secretary General of Mayibuye, Pile Mahlaba, was showing me some numbers that even if we were to get some contribution of 10 rand, we'll be able to sustain the organization for a very long time, because there's nothing mega expensive that we're going to engage ourselves in that will require millions and millions of rands.
Okay.
We'll work with what we have on a case-by-case basis, but we're not going to take wrong money in pursuit of a political agenda.
Very interesting, eh? Very interesting. I've been asking the question, who is funding Floyd? Because the branding, the marketing, the traveling, the campaigning, everything they do is top-notch. It's top-notch. Who is funding this political party? We know that the Oppenheimers funded Yabo Rise Mzansi, Bosa, and all of these IFP political parties, and it made them to perform quite well in the election. Who is funding Mayibuye? But now we know that he says Mayibuye will not take any money from white capital establishment. This is very interesting. Very interesting. I didn't think so. I didn't think he will go that route. Now he's saying they are Pan-Africanist and they are a true Pan-Africanist movement. A true Pan-Africanist, that is the first standing point, that you cannot be funded by white capitalists. And that is why we hold the same view in Paseta. But for us, it's quite different. In Paseta, we say African people must build this school. Full stop. Full stop. African people must build Paseta. If it's not African people that's building it, then it's not an African African centralized school. It cannot be something that you can be proud of as Africa if Asia builds it, if China builds it, if whoever builds it, if the Rupert helps you with the money. So with us, it's one of those things. So as a political party, if you want to push that narrative of Pan-Africanism, that's the first stance that you're going to take. It's also talking about the 10 rands. Easier said than done. In Paseta, okay, on YouTube, we've got more than 50,000 subscribers. Only 200 subscribe to, okay, let me say 300 subscribe to the Paseta movement. 300 subscribe to the Paseta movement. So you can imagine if we were asking people to donate each and every month, we will only get donation from, and from those 300 you have to cut because not everyone is going to donate. So what, and that's the same thing I said about the EFF. I said the EFF can build a school in 6 months with just 10 rand, even 5 rand donations from the 1 million people, 1 million members they have. Easily. They just say all the 1 million members that we have, donate 5 rand into the account of the EFF, and next month we're building a school. They will build a school just like that. So they don't even touch the topic of the school anymore. I don't know why. Because I believe the EFF can do it. I believe they can do it easily. So if they are watching the EFF people, guys, build the school. We need more schools in South Africa. I know it's not going to be a Pan-Africanist school, but just build the school. So the 10 rands for Mayibuye will help, but we don't even know where the membership numbers are standing for Mayibuye. So we don't know how many are going to donate with the examples that I just given you. And there's that issue of president. Is Floyd Shivambu going to be, is he going to be an elected president, or did he appoint himself as the president? Let's listen to this.
Or he assumed the presidency, or did he appoint himself?
Yeah, let's quickly deal with that. The formative processes and stages of any organization, you assume certain leadership responsibilities. Like in the EFF, when we started, by the way, before there was an elective conference, it was 18 months. And we're referring to the current leader as a president. By that time, 18 months later, he was elected as a president. Mkondo Sizwe is towards 2 years now. It has not been to an elective conference. He's not going to any elective conference to elect a president. I was the Secretary General of Mkondo Sizwe. He never went to an elective conference. And there are other organizations, some are even government. I think the other one is one of Patriotic Alliance. They were founded 10, 12 years ago. They were the president. They've never been to an elective conference. Herman Mashaba, I forgot the name of the party of Herman Mashaba.
Action SA.
Yeah, Action SA. So in the Africa Mayibuye movement, the structures that we have put in place, because in the process of consultation, in an anticipation of a possibility that...
Okay, guys, I know we want to attack Floyd in everything he says and everything, but that is an unfair question. That one of, did you appoint yourself? Who did you want to be the leader of Mayibuye right now in its inception? I mean, who? It's an unfair question. He rightfully responded to it. Julius Malema was 18 months before he was elected as president, officially elected as president. When you start an organization, unfortunately or fortunately, you have to elect a leader to say, this is going to be our leader going forward and everything. And up until the time that they're going to have a conference, if they're going to have, and then we can have that question if Nico is going to win any election there. I think he will right now. For me, if I was him, I would have it as soon as March, April next year. because I believe right now he might not even be challenged. He might get it uncontested. For me, right now he will be elected. So for me, the sooner the better he does that, the sooner he's gonna cover this issue. But I think it's an unfair question. I don't know what you guys are saying. To ask a person, did you elect yourself? He started this whole thing. He conceptualized the whole thing. So who did you want to be the president? Come on, people. So you tell me on the comment section, are you voting for Mayibuye? Do you believe in Floyd? He said he's not going to talk about the other political parties. He's talking about them. Or do you think he's mentioning them and not talking about them? The terminology there. And how he speaks about the MK for me is different from how he speaks about the EFF. There's a little bit of bitterness and everything in the EFF. In the MK, he does push them down, but subtly so, not like the EFF. At least that's what I'm getting. So you will tell me. We'll be keeping an eye on Floyd. It looks like mainstream media is giving him a lot of a lot of airtime. I'm sure you will be in Dr. Season Mpofu Welsh or the other big podcasts very soon, where he will talk for 2 hours. 2 hours. I'm sure he talks that, man. He doesn't have time to play. Floyd, one thing he can do is talk. So you tell me, what do you think about the Mayibuye Africa movement? Let's talk about that on the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Until we meet again, don't forget to pray. But after you pray, stand up, African child. Do your best so that God can do the rest. Peace in Pan-Africanism. I salute you.